Hello, everyone. My name is Dame Doria DC Cordova, and I am the CEO and owner of the Accelerated Business Schools for Entrepreneurs and the Money in You program. Let's all take a deep breath. And I'm so happy to be here with you. This is a global recovery magical exercises webinar. It's a program that I decided to do to bring in our tribe, our group, our network from around the world, and friends of ours that have downloaded something, or some of our friends just posted in their social media or sent invitations, or like Jonathan and Mel, brought their group together that they were already in a virtual program. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to set an intention for this particular event. So this is not just being done for ourselves and our families and our communities, but we're actually doing it for the world. And we have some beautiful, beautiful spiritual teachers here. And I'm hoping that if Sandra Ray comes in, that she makes herself known. If you're there, Sandra, go ahead and put it on the chat room that you're here, and that Nicola can maybe text me or something and let me know that you are here. The reason why I bring up Sandra Ray is because this particular exercise that we're going to be doing today, I learned from her back in 1977. And it is so timely to do this. And not only that, but I invited some of the most beautiful spiritual teachers. They are here, they're holding space, they will be doing beautiful intentions and prayers, and they're working with me. And because we're going to set the intention for us, for this particular group, and those that will be listening to this recording, there were quite a few people that couldn't be here. They were having their own events, so they just couldn't make it. So this recording will be available to them. So we're including them all. We're including everyone in this particular exercise. And the intention that I want to have is for us to just uplift all of humanity's consciousness, financial, beautiful consciousness, so that we can move from a place of scarcity to sufficiency. Now, I know that I cannot hear you right now, but can everyone say the word sufficiency? Okay? Sufficiency. That's what we're working on today. And so the reason I am so grateful to Sandra Ray is that when I moved from being in the legal field, and I began to see that my life and my profession was going to be really based on, hold on a second, I'm just going to stop the video for a minute because it's distracting me. And when I realized that my life was going to be a lot more about adding value to humanity and doing what you could be considered service work, there was a block that occurred for me. Like, I was totally okay when I was doing work as a court reporter and I had my own business, but then something occurred for me that all of a sudden, when I wanted to include all of humanity, I began to have these really interesting feelings that came up. And because of my background, and I won't go into a lot of details, but I experienced a lot of loss. I lost people when I was 6 years old, when I was 18 years old, my beloved. I lost a baby, and then I had another miscarriage. So, and then I had 14 friends that I lost in a 3-year period. It was a very, very tough time in humanity. So what happened was that I kind of disconnected. I really got clear on what loss was, and that there wasn't enough money on the planet to heal me during the times when I was experiencing a lot of loss. And so what happened for me was that I began to really go into a whole other level of healing and clearing. Now, you have to understand that with my legal background as an official court reporter on my way to being an attorney, I really lived in a very logical, very left brain kind of world in the legal field. I was in courtrooms all the time. And not only that, I actually, for a while, I was in the criminal court system in Los Angeles, which is a very intense place to be at. So I was pretty grounded in that. And then when I was 26 years old, I had an enlightenment experience, what could be considered an enlightenment experience. And then it was then that I saw that I was really going to have the opportunity to begin to really serve at a whole other level. And not only that, but I had to really accept the level of abundance that I was used to. And it was then that I met Sandra Ray, and she actually taught me these beautiful magical exercises. And I have been practicing them and working with them with a lot of some very big names that you would know. And then they practiced them and they worked on it. And then through the years, so we've been practicing these now for 43 years. So they work beautifully. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be teaching you a system that you will be able to use. And after this, you will receive the actual exercises on a download. You will have an opportunity to go to the same page and have, um, I will email you so you will all know what to do. And you will be able to download chapter 7 from my book, Access to Cash. Now, I want to just describe for a minute what access to cash, what the new definition of wealth means, that you have access to cash, to investment, to support, to experts, to people, and to circumstances, and you begin to have more and more access that is going to support you in getting out of any financial binds or emotional bind. Now, right now, what we're experiencing in the world is actually a whole paradigm shift. So this paradigm shift, they don't occur very often. The last paradigm, global paradigm shifts I'm talking about. People experience paradigm shifts in their own lives when you have people that, hold on just a second, I just wanted to just thank you. People experience this personal paradigm shifts when they have a challenge or something horrible happens in their lives, or something wonderful happens, but it completely changes their lives. So that's like a personal one, but a global one where the whole world feels it, except maybe 2 billion people that don't have access to, television or to the news or the internet the way that many of us do. So they may not be aware of it. But the last paradigm shift that happened prior to this one was on 9/11, okay, on September 11, 2001. That was a global one. Prior to that, my Asian friends, my Asian network here, will remember the paradigm shift that occurred during the financial crisis, in 1997, 1998. Now, for some of my friends here in North America, they might remember, the financial crisis that happened in the United States in 2008. But those, again, were localized, if I may call it that, even though they were in big areas. So we have this paradigm shift, we have 9/11, and prior to that, it was in 1972 during the oil crisis. That was the one before. And prior to that was World War II. So you can see that these paradigm shifts, global paradigm shifts, are rare. Now, for those of us who are in the world of renewables, in the world of sustainability for the planet, we knew it was coming in the environment. We didn't know whether it was going to be happening in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, 15 years. This is what people are really screaming about, that we have to do something about the environment, because we thought that it would hit the way that this has hit, but it came way before. So what is happening now, what we're going to be dealing with in the magical exercises, is generational beliefs. And for this is what I'm so grateful to Sandra Ray. And I'm sure if she's not on, that she will be listening to this particular recording. I can't look at the chat room, it will distract me too much. But what is going to happen is that we have so many things in our consciousness. Now, remember, we have the conscious mind, which is right here. We see each other, we feel things as conscious. Underneath, we have the subconscious, which is very easy to access information with some of these questions that I learned, that you're going to learn. And so it's easy to go. But the one that is very difficult is the unconscious. Now, this is not my idea or my kitchen spawn, version of intelligence or how consciousness works and how we take in beliefs. There is actually a lot of data in this. And so remember, in your unconscious is one of the toughest things to shift. And what happens is that the only way to really change that is either under tremendous pain or tremendous pleasure. Now, so next time you go to the dentist, even though they give you a shot or two or three or more than that, the other day I just had quite a few of them on this little dental surgery that I had. The whole time I was there, I was just saying nothing but beautiful things, because at that point, actually my unconscious is being really programmed in many ways. So what the magical exercises, what Sandra taught me, in 1977, was that what I was going to be doing, I was going to be shifting some very, very old beliefs that I had all the way down in my unconscious. Even though I may not get to all of them at the time, what I was going to do, I was going to activate an aspect of myself that then I was going to be able to later discover for myself. And that's exactly what happened. So as time goes by, after you do these exercises today, you will see certain things that will be kind of coming out from your unconscious, and you will have memories and things. But what is so interesting, because we have all these beautiful, beautiful spiritual teachers, we have some masters that are keeping us company. You will meet some of them. I will try to introduce you to as many as I can later, after we do the process. What's going to happen is that they're also helping us at another level, which some people don't believe, which is actually the superconscious, which is a whole other conversation, which we're not going to have here. But we do have a lot of support so that they are helping us clear these things, even as we're talking right now, even as we're getting ready for this. So what I want to do is I want to ask for your permission, because if you don't give me permission, I can't help you. There's no teacher, no one that can help you anywhere in the world, no consultant, no coach, no one can help you if you don't allow yourself to deeply give them permission to support you. Now, obviously, we're not all in the same room. We have people across the world. And so you can turn this off anytime, but I would recommend that you don't, especially if you feel uncomfortable, and especially if you don't believe in it or anything like that. Just remember that some of your favorite people, for those of you like that, you love the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the first book only. That book is my old business partner, Robert Kiyosaki, of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We were business partners from 1985 until 1994. In 1985 I inherited this work from the beautiful creators, Marshall Thurber and Bobby G. Porter. And he became my business partner. And Robert did a lot of these. It was when we were creating the program called Creating Wealth, it was Robert that thought that it would be really good to put a shorter version of this in the program Creating Wealth, which is part 2 of Money and You. It's for graduates only. So, and then I did this with Tony Robbins when he was only 23 years old, because that was in 1983. And I was practicing them all the time. Once I started, I didn't stop. And when I began to see the results, I definitely didn't stop. And, people like Harv Eker and, the Millionaire Mind, I believe some of you know him. And then the other day I was interviewing Jack Canfield of Chicken Soup for the Soul. And we had this beautiful conversation, and I was telling him that sometimes I tell people that he also did a version of the magical exercises. And we got into a whole conversation, and there's no question in his mind that he has done that and continues to do them. So what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be digging into our consciousness also for generational decisions that were made. Now, let me just give you a little tiny bit of the history of your consciousness. Depending on how old you are, And you know, you all pretty much know that I've been around the world quite a few years now. My mother was, let me see, she was 4 years old when the Great Depression came in. Now, even though she was in Chile and she was in a farm with a beautiful family, and they grew everything and they share things in the south of Chile. So they had animals, they had vegetable gardens, they had chickens, they had cows. Pretty much it was a self-sustaining world. That's how a lot of people around the world lived, okay? So that was then. She was still at the effect of the world. And so the same thing with me, for instance, that there is, even though I didn't experience many of those things, I have had memories of that. Can everyone please mute themselves? Thank you so much. Thank you. As soon as they come in, if we can just check. Thank you. Just mute yourself. I so appreciate that. So one of the things that happened is now you have someone that was around, their family was around. And then you take a look at my grandmother, who was born approximately at the same time that Buckminster Fuller was born, which was 1895. Now that's me, all right? But some of you who are really, really young, depending on where you're from, your family has been experiencing all kinds of financial situations. So let me speak about my Chinese friends right now. Even if your family left China in the 1800s and went to Singapore or to Malaysia or to some of the other Asian countries, the Chinese people have been one of the longest suffering people. They have experienced tremendous, let me put this in, stop the video for a minute, thank you. They have experienced tremendous scarcity. Tremendous. It's not even your fault, your mother's fault, your grandparents' fault. It is multi-generational sense of scarcity. So what we have to do is we really need to move your consciousness. Can everyone mute themselves, please? Thank you. Nicole, if you can just keep an eye for me. Thank you. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, you have to just keep muting them every few minutes. Thank you. Thank you. So what happens is that if you're wondering why you're going through this perturbation right now, it is so, everyone is activated. Okay, so we have almost 8 billion people on the planet. Right now, we have about 6 billion of those activated, not the whole world. Remember, there's 2 billion people on the planet that live under these conditions all the time. Don't get me started on that conversation, but this is a fact. They don't have clean medicines. They don't have hospitals. They don't have masks. They don't have what we have. So they don't have, Zooms that they can connect with their friends. So if there's a virus that goes through their villages, people die. There's nothing they can do except mourn them, okay? So this is one of the things. Later we will learn all the lessons on why all these things have happened, why they have occurred. Why is it that all these things are occurring? Okay, we need to mute everyone again. Thank you. That you need to begin to believe this and allow me to make a difference to you. Now, just so you know, in case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm getting permission from your subconscious, from a whole other piece of you. That's what I'm doing right now. So this is a very, very powerful thing for you to see and for you to experience, because what happens is that you are being at the effect. So now when we do the magical exercises and you create a money biography, and thank you to all those of you that have done this before and you're still here. I want to really, really acknowledge you. There's almost 300 of you now here on this particular event. And I know that quite a few of you have done it. And like I say to you, you can't do this enough. So what happens is that when we begin to shift our consciousness, we are shifting the whole world too. So we are lifting humanity's consciousness. And so we set the intention to easily, peacefully, lovingly, without making ourselves wrong, our families wrong, no one wrong. We're going to be releasing all of these beliefs and thoughts and decisions that we have made around loss, around, just fear and scarcity and lack of money and losing jobs, losing wealth, losing health, dying, all the different aspects, the biggest things that are affecting the world right now, and how we see it, and begin to take the opportunity. More than anything else, our intention today is for you to begin to have a glimpse that this is the best training on the planet. For those of you that have joined Platinum with Tony Robbins and you have paid 100,000 US or have gone to the one that's $250,000 US, it's better than that one. There's never been a better Platinum program. And of course, we also have Sandra, who also has a Platinum program. But there's never been a more amazing opportunity for you to have an experience of what is really going on in your unconscious, your subconscious, and why you may be acting and feeling the way that you're acting. So for this, we are grateful. And I want you to really understand this, particularly for all my Money and You graduates. This is the perturbation part. This is the part, the theory of dissipative structure. We had one reality on how the world was, how we were all cruising around, how 2020 was going to be this most amazing year, right? It was the beginning of a new, whole decade. And we were like high hopes. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay, what a wonderful day, right? And then this thing came along, one of the greatest master teachers of unconditional love, okay? And then clash, and then we began what is the combustion process. And when we get to the other side, you will have an opportunity to know yourself so well. Please don't pass up the opportunity for you to start to know yourself so well, so that you know what it is that you are creating in your life, what you are attracting, and how you are reacting to all the circumstances in your life. Because the challenge right now is that we're so powerful and we can create agreement about anything. We can create agreement about anything. So if you're feeling scarcity and terrified and you have all these statistics, you have all these numbers, what's going to happen is that you will have agreement for whatever it is that you're believing. So some of you really need to turn off those, those television programs. And if you want to know how many people recover, you can go to worldsometer.com and see how many people have recovered. There's a lot of people recovering too from this, which none of the major news talk about, okay? So you wonder about that, but don't get me started on that. So this is an opportunity this is the biggest money training. This is Think and Grow Rich Live. This is Money and You Live. This is Landmark Live. You name any program, this is it. You are in the middle of it. And I acknowledge you, I thank you, I congratulate you for being here or for listening to this, because I can see that you know this to be true and that you want to do work on yourself so that you can go ahead and be able to just be neutral, to be very just breathe through this. Let's all take some breath. Oh, I get so excited over this. Another deep breath. Oh, thank you. And one more. Remember the 3-breath rule. Thank you. So now we can remember, whenever you get activated, you take 3 deep breaths and change your energy. One of the things that we learn in neurolinguistic programming, Tony Robbins taught us again and again, change your state. change your state. If you need to take a walk, you need to, jump up and down, whatever it is, you need to do some qigong with Chun Ling or some of the other masters, you need to change your energy so that you can go ahead and have a completely different now state of mind. Okay, so all of you should have some paper and scrap paper, toilet paper. What kind of paper would you like? You're going to throw this out. Now, you can take some notes, and some of you, by the way, you're going to have this recording available to you. So you may need to do it again because I'm saying quite a bit and saying it quite quickly. But you don't want to do the exercises on your computer or on your iPad because we want to throw them out at the end. We're going to throw them out. You're not going to want to keep these things. Believe me, you know them enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and start digging, and we're going to start exploring our consciousness from our family and our ancestors and where did they come from. But you don't have to go into a lot of details. We're just going to write it. And then we're going to go into mom and dad and some other people and some other things. And we're going to throw those out. And then what is going to happen is that we're going to transform that, the most negative aspects of it. I'm going to ask you at some point for you to put them on the chat, and we'll be able to transform some of that. And then it will become a practice for you to begin to work on that on a daily basis. Now, for all those of you who have the belief that affirmations don't work, they don't work if you don't do them correctly. That is correct. But if you do them correctly, not only for myself, but for many, many people, when you actually do them in a way that you can clear them on a daily basis, they work beautifully. And we're also going to have the support, of course, of some of our spiritual, beautiful teachers. They're going to give us some of tips after the exercises and before we do some final sharing. And we'll have an opportunity to be able to do some cleansing. So I just would like, Heiko and Selina, can you come on? Can you unmute yourself for a minute?
Hi, DC. Hello, everybody.
Hello, my friend. Hello, hello. I'm going to unpin myself from unpin my video. Okay, so can you and Selina just maybe do like a 2-3 minute release to support the beginning?
Sure. Okay, releasing. So we see it as the soul is the computer operator, your brain is the computer, and your brain in your life is like the 3D printout. So when you say a releasing statement, it is like pressing the delete button on the computer. And the good part is when you use a releasing statement, you can even reach part of your unconscious that you're in denial about or that you're not aware of, by just saying releasing statements and by meaning them, okay? Good. So maybe just relax, take a few deep breaths. Okay, just say out loud for yourself, I release now all resistance to change and to let go of all programs and patterns. I release now all resistance to let go and release all programs and patterns. And to let you come more into your body in this situation worldwide, many of us are now in shock of this whole situation. So you can say, I release my shock about the sudden change in the world. And you take a deep breath. And I release all negative effects of the shock now. I release to leave my body in this shock. I release to leave my body in this shock. And I make a new decision to come fully back in my body now.
You can say, I release my need to hold on to my old paradigms and my old way of life, feeling that nothing can be better than what I had in the past. I open myself for new solutions and for a new and better way. And I open myself for support. Seen and unseen support in all directions, from all directions. So it is.
Thank you. Oh, everybody take another breath. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to pin myself again. I love looking at all of you. Thank you. Had a little break there. In a little while, we're going to be bringing Sandra and Daniel, if they're going to be, and to do a little bit more in the middle of it all. Okay. So thank you for those release statements. Okay. So now we open up a little bit more, and thank you for hanging in there. This stuff works, you guys. I promise you. It really works. Okay. So if you want to take notes, you can do it in your computer, but right now we're going to do into a writing process. Now for most of us, we were, raised by mom and dad, and then I also have my grandmother and my auntie. I have my daddy next door. But right now we're going to pick two main characters in your life that were very important to you. Your mother figure, whether it was an auntie or your mother, whoever it was that played when you were very young, very little, was your mother figure. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring up, for just a couple of minutes, we're going to be writing really fast. And again, we're going to be throwing these away. So do not put it on a beautiful journal book or something. Just have it be throwaway paper. All right. And it could be recycled paper. It could be any kind of paper. And so you're going to be writing your mother's most negative thoughts about money. We're going to focus on money alone. And this is not true about them. This is not true about your mother. This is your perception of what you heard through your lenses and as a child. And so, I have had conversations with my mother about some of these things because I've done them so many times. And a couple of times my mother has said, where did you get that? That was never have I done that. And I believe her, but it didn't matter. That's what I perceived. So this has nothing to do with them. It has to do with your perception. Okay, so on top of the sheet of paper, I want you to write, my mother's most negative thoughts about money are, and begin to write. Begin to write. My mother's most negative thoughts about money are, and just write. Don't do it in the computer because we want to throw this away. All right? Thank you. Now I'm going to time this a couple of minutes. My mother's most negative thoughts about money are. And you may start remembering things like upsets between your parents. So just keep reading. It does bring up feelings. upsets that occur. My parents got divorced over money, so this was a tough one for me at first. If your mom is gone and it makes you sad, my mother's most negative thoughts about money are. Okay, just a little bit more. Now remember, we're teaching you these exercises for you to spend more time on these later and possibly with your own teams and your own families, especially during this time. And again, it's nothing personal about your mother. All right? And now write down the most negative thought my mother had about money is, and write that sentence. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to Father. Now, can you go ahead and, if you can, and you were raised in, in another language, it might be really good for you to do it in that language. I know when I did it in Spanish was so more powerful. So my papa, right? And for me, I had to do my daddy next door because my real father, was escorted out of my home when I was 3 years old. So he was not around. So I only remember my daddy next door. So your brain is very, very fast at remembering who that is. So my father's most negative thoughts about money are. And begin to write those down. And if you want to, you can start remembering something that may have happened between your father and your family, or you saw him very upset coming home from work. Whatever memory you have of your father or your father figure. Take a deep breath. Some of you have stopped breathing. All right. So my father's most negative thought about money is, and go ahead and write that. So we're going through these a little bit fast because we're going to get to another one that's going to be a little bit longer, the one that we really want to get to. But now what we want you to do is the most negative thoughts I learned about money in, and it could be in school, in church, or in synagogue or temple, wherever it is, religious, spiritual, okay? The most negative thoughts I learned about money in school, and we kind of combine this because some of us had, like Catholic school and all this and that. So just usually it's not that much, but it's enough. But it can be very impactful. So write that. The most negative thoughts I learned about money. Keep writing, keep reading. Okay. We're finishing up. And again, the most negative thought I had, or I got, or I have from church or from temple, from school is, write that one down. Okay. Now, this is a little bit of a tough one, and this is going to be a little bit longer. We need to have more time on this one, and I'll get a feel for this one. Okay. The most negative experiences I have had around money, finances, business, anything related to money and a learning experience, a tough situation you've had from the beginning of your life. So it could be that, you watch your parents get divorced, fighting over it. You write down, it's just, you don't write a whole history, you just write down the situation. Or you were bullied, in school, and some bully took your money every day, or there wasn't enough money, or there was too much money, or you had to hide. Whatever the situation was as you were growing up, then as you now were moving into your life, whether you could not afford, your family could not afford to send you to a good school, or you couldn't go to school because you couldn't afford it at all, or you had to work 3 jobs like some of us had to do, and then just everything you went through there. And then going to business, you just keep writing and writing and writing the most negative things that have happened to you. Okay, just everything that, you got ripped off, or you fell madly in love and then everything fell apart, You got married, fell apart, and it was all around money and money this, money that, all the situations. So we're talking about alimony, divorces, attorneys, lawsuits, taxes. Oh, just write it down. Just write it down. Just write it down. Okay? So this is one of the toughest one, and you might have some feelings, which is totally okay. You just keep breathing, just to remember some of this stuff. But just remember, this is right underneath. We're pulling stuff out of your subconscious, because anytime you say my most negative thought about, or my greatest belief about is, or whatever, you just say that and it comes out of your subconscious, not just your conscious mind, but we're looking for your subconscious. And later in the process of life itself, the unconscious will begin to show you. So this is kind of like a restart, a reset on your consciousness for you to become aware of all these things that run you, okay? So begin to write them all down. We'll give you a little bit of extra time. There'll be 5-7 minutes for this. And I'll be keeping an eye on you, okay? So go ahead. And everyone, please do them. It's really important. And it's good to do it in writing. It's just the way how the brain works. Keep breathing. Don't just write about one situation. Just keep writing the different ones. See if you can find a thread. The most negative experiences that you have had. It could also be something that you witnessed that really affected you. I had some mentors that lost everything and they got attacked by all these people. It was the biggest money seminar. I could not believe how much that affected me. When you see others suffering too, so that is something. Anything that has affected you in the way you feel about money, finances, wealth, poverty, not being supported around finances, money. Not being able to fly first class or be able to take a vacation anywhere. See, that's what's really upsetting people right now, the lack of freedom to be able to go places. Freedom. For many people, we attract a lot of people in Money and You in our network, people that love freedom. That's it's very interesting. Maybe one of you that possibly was even arrested for something or had to do legal stuff around this, or you robbed or you were robbed. So we're bringing awareness. Okay, just write a few more. We're doing really good, really good. And now we write the big one. The most negative experience I have had this life around money is, and write that situation. The most negative experience I have had this life around money is, and write that. Now, when you get the handout of the chapter 7 from the book, Access to Cash, the new definition of wealth, you know, like people that have very little money don't have access to. And so part of what happens is that when you are so stuck with all these beliefs and these stories in your consciousness, sometimes you don't see the opportunities. We're like almost like have scotoma around it. Blindness. Okay. So now we go into the last one before we do something else, which is the most negative thoughts I have about money are, and begin to write those down. Even if you already written them under your father, mother, or church, family, or the negative experiences you just listed, start writing the most negative the most negative thoughts I have about money are. Begin to write them down. Write them again if needed. Okay. Now, this one, now you're going to pick one. The most negative thought I have about money is the most. There's not enough. It's hard to make. What is it? It's a very simple one, by the way. There's not a lot of story behind it. The most negative thought I have about money is, and I want you to write that one somewhere, maybe in a separate piece of paper, so you can remember it, because we're going to go back and work on it. Okay? So the most negative thought I have about money is. Okay. Now, usually what we would do right now, if we were in a classroom, we would find a partner and talk a little bit over these things. So what you're now creating is your negative money biography, okay? So what we want you to do, not now, because it's going to take you a little while, and I want you to really take the time, either right after this event or in the next 24 hours, because it will be really fresh for you. What I'm going to ask you to do, let me just, oh yes, the video, it is pinned. What I'm going to ask you to do is to begin to have this biography so that you know yourself so well. So next time something happens around money, finances, there's fear, there's loss of money, there's loss of job, a loss of wealth, and potentially, or your retirement account looks like it's disappearing. When your tummy tightens up, what's going to happen is that you will go somewhere and begin to do this exercise. The feelings that I'm having right now, the most negative thoughts I have about this situation, and begin to write them down. And there's something really powerful that begins to occur at that moment. It's almost like it begins to like disappear. And what is going to happen is that you're beginning to know yourself so well. And you're going to keep going deeper and deeper. I mean, I mean, through the years, it's amazing to me, some of the beliefs and things that have really come up for me through all of these different experiences. And you're going to begin to start seeing the people around you also like speaking their beliefs. They're constantly speaking it. And remember, you're very powerful. Everyone is powerful. You know, sometimes people say, oh, she's so powerful, or he's so powerful. You are powerful. Everyone is powerful. You are attracting, you're bringing to you, just hearing this. It's like when you decide that you want to get, you know, a silver new Mercedes, all of a sudden you start seeing new silver Mercedes everywhere, or a yellow Corvette. From my side, a long time ago, I decided, you know what? I think I want to buy a yellow Corvette. All of a sudden there were yellow Corvettes everywhere, right? I would just see them. So this is very similar, the way that our consciousness works. Okay, so what I like to do is I'd like right now, anyone that maybe you can either raise your hand or just share for just, and let us know anything, any realizations you have had or something. So can anyone, can you go ahead and let me unpin myself? Anyone that would like to share anything?
I can go.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so the most negative thought I have about money is that making passive income is really hard. Like income apart from your job, like making passive income, like setting all that up, I feel like that's really hard.
Okay. So is it just passive income, not the other one?
No. Yeah, just
okay. Okay, just hold on to that one. Okay, anyone else? Joy, real quick, Joy?
Mine is this negative thought. Oh, is there another Joy?
Yeah, you go ahead, Joy.
Okay. The most negative thought I have about money is that I am broken and not worth it.
That you are what?
Broken and not.
Okay. Oh, you brought up such a good one. Okay, so as you're listening to Joy use the word broke, this is something that I want to encourage all of you from now until the end of your life. Never use the word B-R-O-K-E when you're speaking about anything financial. You're not broken. And this is when you say I am, that is a very powerful word, the I am. So when people say, oh, I feel, she's actually saying something a little bit different, but she reminded me of this. So what happens now is that you are beginning to really become aware. So you could be temporarily out of cash. I want you to write that one down. You're not B-R-O-K-E. You may have broken your leg, but you are not B-R-O-K-E. You are actually temporarily out of cash. And the more that you speak about this, and the more, and there's people that are constantly asking. I have some friends in Facebook. I finally was supporting this friend of mine, and I encouraged her to come to this event, and she didn't. She decided not to come to this event. And I'm constantly asking her to, like, all the news in her Facebook is about all these things that are happening to her. And it's like the victim energy. And the thing about money and being a victim, you have to be very careful with this one. Again, because you are so extremely powerful. So Joy Megas, what could be the opposite of what you just said? What is the opposite? Instead of I am broken. Go ahead.
I am healed and I am worthy.
Or I am whole and complete and I am.
I am whole and complete and I am worthy.
Worthy. Thank you. Now, what I'm going to ask you right now is, can you all put on the chat your most negative thought about money? And then what I'm going to do in a little bit, I'm going to go through them and get to as many of them as possible. Before I get to that, though, I'm going to want for Sandra Biskind to do a little process with us. All right? Thank you. Okay, and Josh, what could be the opposite that you can create passive income?
Making passive income is really easy.
Go ahead, say it loud again.
making passive income is really easy.
Yes. And making passive income is an interesting one because you are really niching it, which is really interesting. You're like niching it. So it sounds like your consciousness, you can just make just enough, but not more than you want. You
Yes,
understand
yes,
that?
yes, that's true.
Okay. So how about is that I am making more than I ever dreamed. I am making more than I ever dreamed. I'm making more money than I could ever imagine. See, you kind of have to exaggerate it, everyone. And this is where the process comes in, that you now have to work on the responses that you have to that. So like if Yash is going to say, I now make more money or more passive income than I ever dreamed, there's going to be a little voice that's going to say to him, yeah, right. I mean, he's laughing already. He's laughing at himself, right? So you have to work on that particular ones. Once you find the most negative thought you have about money, you have to now put the opposite and then begin to work on the response column, on the responses that you have to that. So Yash, that's the next level. And then you keep doing that, you keep working on that. Okay, so we have people that have raised their hands. You're welcome. Okay, Michelle, let me see, here we are. And Johan, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I wanted to say was we found ourselves through the last week or two with changes going on. John, we need a charger. That I was just in this not enough world of we need to scale back our business to make it through. And we sat down this morning thinking, well, actually, maybe we should just look at how we scale up our business and make it through and not get caught up in everything's going down. There's, you know, this whole crisis situation, and how can we scale up and go ahead? So yeah, that was, but we were in the position we're looking at everything and how we can reduce, save, slow down, how we can get through with less clients instead of let's find more clients.
Wow. And how did it feel?
Well, it felt better because, yeah, there's no reason why we can't grow now. We just need to reach out to more than our normal customer base. And you know, we're doing that now. We're in a meeting with 300 people around the world. So it was just limiting beliefs, making me think I had to, you know, shut shop, get smaller, reduce costs instead of, you know, putting systems in place so that we can be more efficient and do more, have more workflow coming through so that we can have more clients without expanding our team. So that's what we're focusing on now.
I have an idea. Why don't you all go later, not now, I don't want you to leave. I want you to go to my Facebook later, and right underneath where it says today, you know, magical exercises, you know, in the comments, why don't you go ahead and just leave a little comment about your experience of this and put your names there and your websites there and just put an offer and say, hey, this is what I'm doing and I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. And that way, everyone here will connect with everybody. So now you know that you go to my Facebook and where it says under DC Cordova, and even if you're not my friend, because I'm pretty full up. So go to my personal one, DC Cordova, and then just put under the magical exercises, I said today, it's there, so it should be on the top kind of. And then just put your name and maybe your website and say, hi, I want to connect with you. And then you guys know that all these people that were in this event are there that want to connect with you. So there you are, right? You can ask for support and, you know, don't make it into a major sales pitch, but just, this is what I'm looking for, let's connect. And then at least you have one central place that you can go to, okay?
Yeah, and changing mind shift already worked, Aria, because I just got handed this and I wasn't even expecting an envelope full of money. So mindset.
So Michelle, what was your most negative thought, your old most negative thought about money? What was it?
There's not enough money to make it to me.
Okay. So what would be the opposite of that?
There is more than enough money to make it to me.
Thank you. And then if you have any, if you see, there's a part of you that just laughed a little bit. That's your unconscious. Like, yeah, right? Because there is a part of us.
Oh, that was excited. I got a little bit excited about saying it. Like, there's more than enough money to make it to me. That's exciting. Yeah.
Good. Because money loves excitement. And remember, Reverend Ike used to say, money has ears. So remember ears. Reverend Ike used to be one of our favorite. He's a beautiful preacher. If you Google him, and we brought him to the business school. Kiyosaki and I brought him to the business school because we loved him. And he used to say, money has ears. You know, he was a beautiful preacher. Thank you. All right, so we have 4 more people that raised their hand. Who is this over here? Let me see, I can't read it because it's behind the little sign. Let me see, hold on just a second. How can I do? Fadley, you had your hand up. Go ahead. So what was your most negative thought? Go ahead. I'll unmute you, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I feel my current source of income is so fragile and not enough.
That was your most negative thought?
Yeah.
Okay, say it another way. Go a little deeper. Your source of income is not what you're doing now. You are the source of your income.
Yeah, I am fragile and not enough.
Okay.
I am fragile.
So what would be the opposite of that?
Getting myself stronger.
I am strong, right? That I'm strong. I am savvy around money. I see the opportunities. Mm-hmm. Everywhere I look, there are opportunities for me. Everywhere I look. Opportunities are coming to me from the most unexpected places. You see that? And if you don't believe that, do the response column, right? So just remember, your job is not the source of your money. Your profession is not, because some of us change professions completely. And by the way, I totally connect to that one, because when I switched careers, it was like, oh my God. You know, it's like I wasn't prepared. And actually, we were creating a whole new industry. We're creating a whole new way of living. A whole new paradigm was being created when I moved from the legal field. As a court reporter, I could be paid. You know, we go to school, all of you, we get professions, and of course we're going to be paid, and somebody's going to give us a job or whatever. And I step into this new universe called transformational, experiential, entrepreneurial training that we didn't even know was a new industry. We were just searching for new ways of uplifting humanity's consciousness through business. We didn't know that. I mean, those words came in much later. So we were creating something new. So what I want you all to begin to see yourselves is you are morphing into something new. You know, and some of you are the light. You are the light of this world. All of us are, but particularly you. You know, there were some, I really want to acknowledge you for sticking around. And there's still 290 of you. Only 11 people left. And I know a couple of them had to go. That's why they left. I know the couple that left. But the other ones, they were not interested because, you know, magical exercises, you know, usually that I was going to do some magic. Actually, you're the magicians. You're the source. You are the one that is creating this attraction. You know, you want to get clear on the law of attraction. The law of attraction has been around for thousands of years. There's pieces in the Bible, I can only speak of that. I can't speak about other religious books that actually speak of it. There are books that are full of all the quotes that came from the Bible. It's that ancient. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to start really getting a perspective about where where is this money thing? See, some of you, what is happening to you is that you are forgetting and you are moving into a whole other piece. And you are forgetting that you are the person that's 100% responsible. And this is really important for you to remember. And I hope, Sandra, that you're listening to this, because I know you're going to be doing some work with us here in a little bit. Because what we are doing is that we are reaching a place of 100% responsibility on what it is that we are to money and to the situation and to the losses. When I remember when I was 27 and I joined the Hunger Project, I said, if I am the only person on the planet that's going to, everybody mute yourselves? Thank you. If I'm the only person on the planet that's going to eradicate poverty or hunger, it's going to be me. And of course, there were many, many people, and now there's millions, tens of millions of people. Can we mute all? Hold on a second. Let me just mute all. Thank you.
I can't hear you, Doria.
You unmute yourself.
Oh, I unmuted myself. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So when I chose to be 100% responsible, there was a shift that happened in my life. The precessional effects, the ripple effects of it all, is that I became completely responsible for so many different areas of my life. But for some reason around money and finances and jobs and all these things, people get a little bit more slack, and it's like they're not completely responsible. So right now, you are an amazing group because you said, I'm going to take responsibility for this. I'm going to do these exercises. I'm going to do this with my family. I'm going to do this with my team. And I'm going to keep doing them until I am so clear that I'm 100% responsible. And when something is not working, I need to take a look and see whether the niche that I'm involved in, the niche, for those of you down under, whether I am really the person. Have I taken 100% responsibility for that? Or am I at the effect? So what you're seeing right now is a world full of people at the effect. And of course, governments, and I'm happy because they need to step in right now. I mean, they stopped the world. They better feed people and handle it. And if you're going to stop the world, you better do something, right? So, but Liz, and then all the entrepreneurs that I know are working harder than ever. They're seeing more opportunities than ever. So this is where you have an opportunity to see how your consciousness works and whether you see opportunities or you see lack. Everybody take a deep breath. And when something comes up, I want you to start doing these exercises and transforming them, all right? Okay, so we had people that had their hands up and they disappear when I unmuted and muted everyone. So just unmute yourself if you have a question.
I have a question.
Go ahead, say your name.
If I can share, I'm Umnawa.
Okay, go ahead.
So I said that money is a burden and is difficult to manage. And then, I shifted it to money comes easily and is fun to play with.
Okay, say it again.
Money comes easily and is fun to play with.
And isn't it? Isn't it fun to play with?
I'm starting to feel like that. After I wrote it, I was like, wow, okay, money can be fun to play with because I've never felt that way before. So I'm starting to shift that, yeah.
So then what you do is you write that on top of a page, and then you write down all the stuff that your subconscious is saying about that statement, which is, oh, I never felt like that before, or I kind of believe it, or maybe other people can do it. So do you see how it's really important for you to be willing to like work on it? You're going to dig into it, all right?
So start saying why it comes easily. And
yes, you can do that too.
Yeah, thank you.
Because it does. Why does it come easily for others and not for others? Why is there people in the world that are such, excuse my language, okay? I'm gonna speak a little French here to my French person. Why is it some idiots that are so unconscious and so mean and hurt people and everything? What is it about them? And they can make money. They touch everything. Everything they touch turns into gold. Have you ever met anybody like that? Or am I the only one that met people like that? Right? Yes? Right?
Yeah.
We all have met people like that. One of the reasons, and some of them were my friends, and you know what? I went and really talked to them about it, and they're focused. They're really clear. What they have is their deservability level is really, really high. They're like, I deserve this. I deserve, for whatever reason, whether it comes from family. You know, some people were raised with people that absolutely got them to believe that they deserve, that they're worthy, and they get it, and they go through life like that. And that's how come money is so easy for them. There's other people that money comes easy for them during doing things that are, you know, very illegal and hurt others. I do not recommend that, because I used to work in the criminal courts system, and I saw day in and day out people being put in jail for doing things that were illegal, immoral, and unethical, and that got caught because Buckminster Fuller, you'll remember Buckminster Fuller. For those of you on the phone, you cannot see this. I'm pointing to Buckminster Fuller behind me. Buckminster Fuller talked about that the spirit has total integrity, total integrity. Who you are deep in the core of you has total integrity. Integrity is not an issue for the spirit. So the more that you begin to clear, the more that you begin to do the work, the more that then you begin to doubt on whether you should be doing that or not doing that. And remember, all of us, if you came into this call, even if you've never met us before, this is a thing. We live by a question that was given to us by Buckminster Fuller. How do we make the world work for 100% of humanity through spontaneous cooperation in the shortest possible time without any ecological offense or the disadvantage of anyone? And when you begin to answer that question as an entrepreneur or someone that is now becoming, you know, like you are creating new product and services, and some of you will have to change niches right now.
I have that answer, by the way, 12 times over, but.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I just need to work on the money part of it in terms of my mindset. Yeah.
Perfect. And remember, get out of debt. Remember, some of you, and in Asia, where do you live?
I live in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, Dallas. Okay. Dallas too. You know, a lot of times, you know, we learn from our environment to just kind of load up on what our mentor, Keith Cunningham, who's from Dallas, you know, we load ourselves up with Duda, lots of Duda, stuff that we don't need. This is what this is also teaching us, what do we really need. Look, this time in the world is teaching us so many beautiful lessons. If we just hear it without any charge, all right? And I'm gonna take one more, and then I'm gonna ask my friend Sandra to do a little bit of.
Thank you, Doria.
You're welcome.
Doria, it's Lisa.
Yeah. Lisa, go ahead.
Hi, sweetie. So mine's a little bit different because I have money, but I feel like what I wrote is I am not a success without earning a lot of money by myself. But I've always been provided for. When my husband died, I was given an inheritance. My family's had money, but I feel like I'm not a success because I haven't earned it. So I don't know how to, do you have any ideas on how to change that mindset?
Well, you have earned it. Why haven't you earned it?
Because I guess I didn't work hard for it.
You really didn't work hard for it? Hello? I know you, so I know a little bit about you. Are you sure you didn't work hard for it?
Yeah, I guess it's just.
You were a beautiful, loving wife. Yes? Hello?
Yes, I was.
You did some amazing things.
Yeah.
I won't go into details because I know you, but
yeah.
So what could be, and I thank you for sharing that emotion. And I love how you took that and made it into a beautiful gift by supporting people with your gift. And it's a beautiful thing what you do. Make sure you go on the Facebook and
Yes,
put
I
your,
will. Thank you.
let
Yeah.
people know. So how could you transform, Lisa? How can you transform that thought that you were just sharing?
Well, I guess just accept the grace that I've been given, and not somehow I've tied success with, you know, working hard for money, and yet it just flows to me with such grace and ease. And but somehow I've not been able to disconnect the, you know, the deserving of it, I guess.
Yes. How about I am worthy of all the wealth that I attract?
I love that. Yeah, thank you.
I am worthy of all the money that I attract, all the wealth. One of the things, I'm going to say something about you that it's okay for me to say in public, which is that you really, I experience that you experience sufficiency. You're not flaunting, you're not living in the biggest house like I don't, and you don't have the latest Tesla, which you could, and you know, have the biggest diamonds that you could. You don't. You are really living in a place of sufficiency.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do. So you're already a sufficiency girl. Okay, and you give some beautiful gifts to the world. So now it's like, I am worthy. So for all of you that are listening, whenever you come up with questions and with statements like this, you have to say, why not? Why not? Why am I not worth? And then go to that. So let me just, thank you, Lisa. Thank you. Okay, so what I want to do for, let me just go back to myself here. Sandra Biskind, hello. Let's unmute you. And I'm going to pin you. Okay, there you're pinned. You're on. Let me see. Can you hear us? I can't hear you.
Press it. Now can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Would
Great.
you just? I'm gonna have a little bit more of releasing in a little bit. But the work that you do is so beautiful. So go ahead and explain a little bit, and then do
just magic.
Yes.
Doria, thank you so much. You've just set everything up so perfectly. So the only thing stopping any of us from having the success, the money, the happiness, and the wealth that we want are our thoughts, both conscious and unconscious. But just so that you all do know this, that the conscious mind is like one tiny dot in the middle of a huge piece of white paper, and that our unconscious mind is running our show over 95% of the time. So the reason why some people have a lot of money is because their unconscious programs are not sabotaging them. The reason why people don't have the relationship they want is because they don't have unconscious programs there. So it depends on what is in your unconscious that is being triggered over and over again as to what your life looks like and feels like now. And I want to say that the ego mind works in the unconscious. It's very sneaky. It comes up and slaps us around when we least expect it. And it certainly does that for the beautiful girl that was just speaking. Was that Linda?
Lisa.
I actually I've written down nearly all of what you've all wrote about your problems about money. I've been writing furiously here, and there are so many unconscious programs that are going on. And Lisa, yours was profound in that you shared something that was different from everyone else, and that this is how totally sneaky the unconscious mind is. It wants to separate ourselves from our hearts, our source, our success and money. Anything that would make us happy, the ego mind is a master at creating unhappiness, separation, fragmentation. And so what goes there is money's flowing through to all of us, or to you at the moment and to many others on this call, and yet the mind wants to go, oh, hang on a minute, I don't deserve that. I'm not good enough for it. I've got to work hard, and I've got to work hard and stir everything up so that I can work hard. So, oh, and on and on and on it goes. And it's a thought process that does not serve you and it does not serve anyone else. The same with all of the other thought processes. So if it's all right with everybody, and I know that this is the reason why the gorgeous Doria has brought me on, and that is that I would really love to delve into your unconscious as a group. And as a group, I'd like to give you a few corrections that I'm going to go into the matrix of your soul, discover the event, emotion, and decision, and we're going to neutralize them. We're going to actually delete the emotional charge from them so that when they've gone from your body, you feel the release and like there's the freedom. So you'll be neutral to the emotions and you'll be free to start having the business, the money, the wealth come to you. So if that's okay with everyone, I'm just going to delve in right now. Thanks, Doria, for the yes.
Yes.
So let me go in and so on a spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, psychic, psychological level, there are beliefs, programs, and ideas running throughout this group to do with the fact that I'm not enough, I'll never be enough, I don't deserve money, I've come from a poor family, it's dangerous to have money, when I have money, people want it, they betray me, they stab me in the back, I can't have relationships and money, people won't love me if I have money. There's a level of betrayal that's going through the group that is huge. And so therefore what's happening is that the unconscious mind and ego mind is saying, you can't have money. Don't worry if I don't have enough money. Don't worry if I'm just scraping by. It's okay to scrape by. Now remember, this is in the unconscious mind. That's not what your conscious mind is thinking. I have to work really, 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 really hard for money. If I don't work really hard, I will never get it. I don't deserve it. If I do get it, I have to give it away. Whew. So let's get rid of all of that and give you 100% infinite potential to be corrected, to be strong, to know the truth. And the truth is that you are a high frequency being and that you can trust that you have always deserved money, that money is coming to you from everywhere. Let me just read else. That money flows to you from everywhere, that you can trust you deserve money, that you are totally focused and free to have money flow to you from everywhere and anywhere, that I am worthy of the wealth that I attract. And so let's go in there. Let's also go in and neutralize and delete all karma that you have set up between you and money. So that's everybody that has betrayed you, created pain for you around money, sued you, anyone who's put you into bankruptcy, that's the banks, your lawyers, your accountants, anybody at all associated with money. Let's neutralize and delete all karma between you and them now. Let's go into the brain and neutralize and delete the neuronal pathways that have set up the habitual thinking. And so right now we're going to bring in a brand new karmic soul agreement that the brain is going to process from this moment forward and create brand new neuronal pathways, a whole new chemical and biochemical and electromagnetic signature for you to be on this planet with around money. And that is, I trust it's safe for me to have money. I trust that money flows to me from everywhere all of the time. I trust that I know how to deal with money, work with money. I am a powerful force for good on this planet as the money flows in and flows out to the places that I want it to flow to. Let's just put in, to finish this, a forgiveness template deep into your hearts. So right now, imagine a column of white light coming in. That's your true self, the divinity that you are. And as Bucky would say, that's your spirit. That's that part of you that no longer has unconscious programs running the show. And from this place, forgiving yourself for having written a script that would say, I don't deserve money, I have to be wealthy, I can't be wealthy, whatever your script has been and that you've written out, forgive yourself for having written those scripts. Forgive your parents and ancestors for the scripts and stories that they've passed down to you. And forgive everyone who has read your script in such award-winning style that they have stolen from you, backstabbed you, betrayed you, died and left you. Oh, put the forgiveness template in and take a deep breath into that forgiveness. Okay. So now how are you feeling about understanding that money has always flowed easily through you and to you? How does it feel?
You can go like this if you feel good. Put your little hands up. If you feel good, you put it on the chat. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful work. Thank you.
Thank you, Dory.
Thank you
to be of service.
Another business school instructor. Okay, now let me unpin you. Here we are. Whoa. All right. So we're going to do a couple more things, and then I wanted to bring in Heiko and Selina to do a little bit of a wrap up. Is that okay? Heiko and Selina, didn't you just love Sandra's work too? I'd love to get all my spiritual teachers together.
Of course. Wonderful.
Yes, and you guys, we have to have a dinner party with all of you. Anyway, thank you. So what I wanted to do was, as you notice, we're having all these beautiful statements and all these beautiful things that are being said. And remember, you're going to have a recording of this. So even if you want to put that piece and some of the releasing statements, you want to put that on your phone and listen to them. And we are going to put the chat in there too, in the recording. So one of the things that I want you to begin to really see, that the thing is that you want to focus on your daily discipline of just transforming. And I did want to call on Cynthia James. I know Cynthia put up her hand, and Cynthia, I'm going to have you go next because you're another beautiful, masterful teacher. And so one of the things that I wanted to do was to remind you that if you just, whatever it is that you focus on is going to expand. So when you work on that affirmation, now just remember, I did this before Money and You was even created. So I started working this on 1977. So if you came to visit me in Honolulu in my place, I had these pieces of papers and affirmations everywhere, and there was all these things about money. I now attract money initially, and it comes to me from unexpected places. You know, I now, money loves me and I love money. You know, it was like this over the top that I was working on myself. So my friends, my really close friends, would see that and go, oh my God, she's totally infatuated about money. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm working on my consciousness. I just want to cleanse it out. So 2 years later, I go to the business school about a year later, and then a year after that, Money and You was created so that I could have a job. And I tell my friends that I'm working in a business called Money and You. My friends almost fell over. They could not believe that I had attracted into my life a program called Money and You for me to work in. Later, of course, I inherited it, but I still was just working on it because they had seen all these money affirmations that I have worked on. So I also had to work on my ability and my willingness to accept it, because deservability is not something that comes really easily. Like Lisa Jones, thank you, Lisa. She was demonstrating that even though the universe has been very generous, and she didn't just sit around and be a trophy wife when she inherited this money. Her story is amazing. Okay, so I'm sure you'll learn about her. But so one of the things that you need to know, but that is what her consciousness is saying. So that's, you want to become ever vigilant of what it is that you're saying to yourself, and we just stay focused on that. There are so many business opportunities right now. This too shall pass. I keep writing that everywhere because I am telling that my inner family, my inner father, my inner mother, my unihipili, I'm telling them that I am going to be okay, because there's a part of an aspect of me that starts buying into this. But I really, really, really did have to stop watching those news shows. They're very scary. I mean, you would think that the whole world was ending. I mean, I remember, because we've been on lockdown for almost a month. We started before it was, my sweetie, Chris Menzel, that's in here somewhere. He's a German, a little bit paranoid, and got us like, hey, you know, we're going to pay attention here. And he started it first. And, you know, we were already pretty stocked up. We're really stocked up now. We had plenty of toilet paper already. All right. So one of the things that happened though is that I just have to, if I walk down the street and we live on the beach and there's beautiful, now they have police there that doesn't let you congregate or anything, but the world is okay. It is okay. But my God, if I watch the news, you would think that we're all dying of the plague. There's plague energy. So we release and let go of that plague energy. That's what it feels like. People keep talking about 1918. That was 102 years ago. We have medicines, we have refrigeration. Certain countries we don't, but most of us do. So we release and let go of that, all right? So I want Cynthia. Cynthia, hi, sweetheart, can you come in?
Hi, thank you so much. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting us. This is really powerful, and thank you, Sandra, for that beautiful clearing process. It was beautiful. So I loved this. You know, what I put down is what I can't hold on to money and manage it, because I've made money over time many times, and then I've not managed it well. And so I just wanted to read what I wrote, because I'm carrying this with me. It's like, I make massive streams of income and handled it with consciousness of ease, grace, sufficiency, and joy. I am worthy of all the wealth and money I attract. I experience sufficiency, and money comes from unexpected places.
Beautiful. And you serve so many. And I want you, Nicola, is Nicola, you there? Nicola, this is one of the beautiful women I was telling you about, Cynthia. And Nicola Jackson, if you see her in this, she works in the financial literacy world. And we are creating this beautiful platform that we want you to.
She coming back.
Hmm?
She on the way back now.
It's okay, sweetie, it's okay.
Yeah,
as long as she can remember. Yeah, it's okay. I just wanted for Cynthia and Nicola to just connect for a minute. You can look at each other's picture. Yeah, we're talking some gorgeous goddesses here. I mean, affecting a lot of beautiful women, by the way. So Nicola, I just wanted you to meet Cynthia James. She's kind of like right now being pinned. And Nicola, she doesn't mind me calling her this. She doesn't really mind, because there's a whole history. But I call her the Kim Kardashian of the financial literacy industry. Because I actually respect Kim Kardashian, not the silliness, but her business savvy. And this is a beautiful woman. And Cynthia, we have to come and see you and over in Colorado.
I would love that. Thank you so much. And nice to meet you, Nicola.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah. Oh, I love to connect all these wonderful people. Anyway, okay. So let's take one more. Hold on a second. I was going through. I know some people have to leave. Let me see if I can catch. Rob K., you had your hand up? Hi, Rob. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for having this. It's been wonderful, and thank everyone for everything they've done being a service. It was already addressed. Basically, I had a core old idea that I don't deserve money, and you've already given some wonderful affirmations. I'm worthy of all the money I can attract, and I love the money is fun to play with, and just thinking of that. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. So what we're going to do now is what we want you to do is to tear up all those sheets. Just remember that, and even if you forget your most negative thought about money, I want you to know that you will never forget it. It's always going to be there. I still remember mine. You know, it's just, believe me, it's always there. So what we want to do is, I know I'm willing to stay longer with some of you that need support, but we have done some beautiful inner work. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring in Heiko and Selina to kind of like wrap this up with because this is a thing. With the work that we've been doing today, it's going to stir up things. It's going to bring up stuff. And now you're going to become ever vigilant. And you're going to go back to your families, and you're going to go back and see if you can go to a grandmother, great-grandmother, an auntie or whatever, and find out from them some of the history, money history. At the next dinner family party that you'll have, even if it is by Zoom, just say, do you guys remember how grandmother used to think about money? Oh, she never talked about money. Oh no, you didn't bring up money around her. So you're beginning to you're going to be a master of your money consciousness. You're going to know everything about it, what your brothers and sisters and nephews and everyone around you are going to be the historian of the money family. All right. So, and for those of you, I love it. Some of you are putting up your affirmations. Please put your affirmations up there so that people can see it. All right. So Heiko and Selina, we'll take it one at a time. Should I take Selina first or Heiko? Who wants to go first? Unmute yourself.
Do Heiko first. Heiko.
Go Heiko. Heiko first. All right. We unmuted you and let me pin you. There you are. Go ahead. Heiko, you have heard enough, haven't you? You got some good releasing for us?
Oh, yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm glad that this is recorded, because those who had to leave early or whatever can go back and maybe release some more, or even write that down, keep that in their phone sometimes, because they're very potent releasing statements, So these are viruses you can release on your human hard drive. Okay. Okay, and inspired by dear Lisa, I like to start with something to release. It is to release the belief that I only deserve to be wealthy and have money if I work hard for it. It is so quickly said often, but it's just an assumption. Yeah? No one deserves only the sunshine if we work hard for it. So please say, oh, I release my belief and programming that I only deserve to have money and be wealthy if I work really hard for it. So it is. Take a breath, please. And for some of you who are open to previous lifetimes, we can also release the program from lifetimes in slavery that I only get to eat, only have, if I work really hard for this. So I release my old programming from lifetimes in slavery that I only get to eat and have what I need if I slave for it, if I work hard for it.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
And I forgive myself now. I also release my idea and belief. I also release my idea and belief and my feeling of guilt to have money and be wealthy when other people are not. I release my old guilt to have more than other people, and my idea that I shouldn't have more than other people. And I release to get rid of my money and wealth to equalize with people who don't have. Feeling it is not fair. Feeling it is not fair to have more than others. And I open myself to see that by creating balanced wealth, I open myself to see that by creating a balanced wealth, I can remind other people that wealth for everybody is possible. I can remind other people that balanced wealth is possible for everybody. Okay, and sometimes we have an old loyalty to our family or ancestors when they were not rich or even poor. And there's this old fear as if we lose the connection with them, if we get much more wealthy or are better off, and if we let go of our loyalty. So we keep loyal to the poverty of the past, and we can now let that go. So please take a deep breath. Don't rush. I release my old agreement with my family and ancestors to stay in poverty or poor, to stay loyal to them, and to keep a feeling of belonging. I release now my fear that I will lose my sense of belonging if I let go of my loyalty to poverty. And I open myself to see. I open myself to see that I will always belong and nothing can change that. And that my success, happiness, wealth, even bliss is the happiness and result for my ancestors. And that all my ancestors celebrate my happiness, my wealth, and beautiful life. So it is. Please take a deep breath.
Wow. Thank you. All right.
One more.
One more. Got it. Taking you back.
One more before one more. I release my old programming that money is always hard to get by. And I release my old belief that there's not enough to go around for everybody. I release my belief that there's not enough wealth to go around for everybody. And I release my old guilt that if I have a big piece of the cake, as if other people have less because of that. And there's more than enough for everybody. So it is.
Mm-hmm. And you can say, shall I say something?
Yes, I just pinned you. Go ahead.
Okay. You can say, I release my fear to look greedy and to be greedy if I put my focus on having a lot of money in my life. I release all old guilt from past lives or earlier in my life when I was totally focused on having a lot of money and misusing the power of my wealth. I release all old guilt and shame about that. I release all guilt and shame for misusing the power of my money to overpower and control others and manipulate them in the past to give me what I want. And take a deep breath on that. Let that go. And I release all decisions I made after that to never have a lot of money again. Out of fear to fall back into my old patterns. I release that now. And I open myself to see that I've learned my lessons. And I choose from now on to use my money with integrity and with wisdom for the highest good of all and for the highest good of myself. And this is safe. So I open myself to allow money to flow freely and abundantly into my life. I make that commitment. So it is.
Okay. Another old prejudice and program is that money spoils the character. So I release my old fear and programming that money corrupts the character. And I release my fear that money could corrupt my character. I release my old fear that money could corrupt my character. It's good that you really speak this out. It's like not just reading the words, but pressing the delete button. The brain, you as a soul and body is really wired like this. And there's a very old spiritual program that is, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to go to heaven. Mm-hmm. Now that's a big one, because when it reaches the spiritual level to feel guilty, or even that would mean God disapproves of being wealthy. Oh boy. So this is really good to release the idea that the divine is disapproving of wealth. What they didn't say is how big that needle is. So we're going to imagine now a needle that is 50 meters long and has such a big eye that a whole dozens of camel go through. So no one ever said no camel go through the eye. There's a dozens of camel that go through the eye of a needle if the needle is just big enough. So I release the old programming. I release the old programming that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a man or woman to go to heaven. So I release my idea that the divine, source, God, whatever it is for you, is disapproving of wealth and having money. And I release the old spiritual programming that poverty is a spiritual virtue. And I release my old feeling of pride when I was so proud of my poverty, believing I get into heaven's favor. And I forgive myself for that now, and I allow abundance, well-being, and wealth in my life. And I open myself to remember that the divine is supporting my well-being and wealth on all levels. Thank you.
Thank you. So for those of you that may have different beliefs or have different practices, we just want you to take in these beautiful prayers in whatever way you can accept them. They're just like your unconscious is just releasing, releasing, releasing. And this whole time, I know that Sandra and others are working on just supporting the whole space. Now, just so you know, I'm willing to stay behind a little bit longer to work with some of you. You're welcome. I will not take it personally. I know some people are texting me and letting me know that they had to go. They're so sweet. And a lot of my friends are here. So they want to make sure that I don't take it personally that they're leaving. And I'm not at all.
DC, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for this.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. And what I wanted to do, though, I just wanted to introduce a couple of people real quickly. I know that let me see, is Wendy Tan still here? Wendy, are you still here?
Yes,
Wendy,
I am.
Hi, Wendy, where are you? I can't find you here. We still have quite a few people. Hi, go ahead and keep speaking. You want to say hello? This is our partner in Malaysia and Singapore. Go ahead. Just say hello. Hello, you there? I didn't mute you. You can unmute yourself.
Thank you. I'm so grateful and thankful to be in this class again, even though I've done this exercise. It's another layer of my clearing, and I just teared just now without knowing why. But it's like so many levels that we are working on. I'm so thankful. So glad that so many of you are in this recording. And nice to meet all of you. Thank you.
And Wendy, you know, the beautiful thing about you is that you are very wealthy in every level, and the way that you share and that the way that you treat people and your employees is so beautiful, and the way you constantly work on yourself. And we have some great stories about Heiko and Selina, how you immediately wanted to do all the work and all the different features. So today, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to bring, you know, all these different beautiful teachers. And thank you. Thank you for being with us.
I just want to say thank you, Heiko and Selina. I can remember this magical exercise in Malaysia, my very first time many, many years ago. And it was such a transformation for me. And so it was so awesome for you guys to be able to share again. And DC, always a beautiful gift. I have several of my coaching clients on, and I wanted them to experience this. So this was an awesome gift. So thank all of you all for your presence and your spirit and your love. This is, I'm so grateful to even be a part of this moment, even in time with every one of you all. Thank you.
And thank you for what you do for so many women and people. Oh my God, Nicola is a goddess and goes into what I call the trenches in supporting people and getting really clear. And can you see, Nicola, how important it is for them to do the magical exercises, because we go into places where there's no sense of worthiness. You know, they don't give them worth. Our educational systems, our neighborhoods, and certain places that, and so people get so confused when they want to survive and thrive. You know, they want to really thrive, but it gets in the way, you know. So thank you so much. And Nicola is making us available for us to be able to have this same channel next week, same time, same day, and we're going to do the Ho'oponopono process. So I will, if you want to save it, or I'll send out the information to all of you, if you don't mind, to let you know if you would like to join that. And that was generated by the beautiful woman from Mexico. And so that we can do a Ho'oponopono process. And that's the beautiful Hawaiian prayer that is about balancing the inner family and also releasing at another level all the things that we've been covering today. And I, in the back of my heart, in my heart and in the back of my head, I keep saying Ho'oponopono, Ho'oponopono. So how many of you are feeling lighter right now? Just kind of wave. And are you feeling lighter? Was this helpful? I'm going through the different, so I can see you. Okay, a lot of you are muted, or I can't see
Dora,
you.
can I say something?
Yes, of course.
Hi, Dora. We met in San Antonio. And
Okay.
a couple things came through. Was my wife just happened to say about the camel and the needle just before that affirmation was said. That was amazing. But for me, as you know, we talked a little bit about being First Nations and Métis, and the ancestral guilt was big. And I just was talking about that again, and he came on again and said that clearing was so powerful for me. So I just want to thank you and the affirmations that you do and the work that you do. And I'm just appreciative that I showed up. So thank you.
You know, I was trying to see you, and I'm trying to unpin myself. There you are, Mark.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Wow, yeah.
It was wonderful. So thank you. It was I had my wife listening and she was taking notes, and we teared up our notes already. So we're what needs to work for us.
Well, you know, we were talking about this because I was so surprised about Canada. You know, I mean, can you just explain to the group, just, you know, in a few minutes, what it is that you're so committed to?
Well, we just joined. I mean, I just joined EBC, and we created this committee on Black and Indigenous people of color, and being Métis in Canada, and that's just mixed blood. So for me, living in both worlds and being able to live in the diversity that we have is so important. And many people don't know what Métis means really in Canada. And that's mixed blood. And that's really it's a French term, being French and First Nations. And now it's encompassing to all cultures. And the diversity that is needed now is more than ever. And so many people are stepping in two different cultures, in a language, in a culture, whatever that may be. It's so important to understand where you come from, and the work that you're doing now with the ancestors, that is huge, because I carry stuff with me, and I know I feel so much guilt that my ancestors didn't have the wealth, or if they did, I was taught to be wealthy is to live in poverty, to have less. So that First Nations, the aspect of that whole poverty thing on us is so important. And the diversity piece, Dora, is so big right now. And I love the diversity on this call. I love the diversity because that's what we need on the planet. And I wish all Zoom meetings had this much diversity, because that's powerful, very powerful. Thank you for bringing us together.
Oh, absolutely. Come back next week. And that's what I always tell people about my network and about our whole thing. Is very, very diversified. And particularly in Asia, you know, one of the things that I just love, I remember the first time that I had this experience there, I'm pretty sure I was in Singapore, and I went to this meeting, and you could just tell there were all kinds of different people, and you know, you had all kinds of different religious backgrounds and spiritual backgrounds, and everybody was getting along so great, and it never came up. Nobody ever talked about what kind of quote unquote God they prefer. It just never came up. That's when I fell in love with Asia. I think I talked about it when we were having our little meeting, and you
Yes.
can see it here, and because this is what the world looks like. This is what the world looks like. You know, this is what we look like. You know, just these beautiful, beautiful people. All right,
Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Vive le
What else
Canada.
would
Can I speak?
Yes.
speak?
What else would I be doing on a Friday night? Okay. Yes, of course you can speak. Go ahead.
Today is Qingming.
Oh,
Can you hear? Check.
go ahead.
Oh, okay. Who's
I'm glad
speaking?
to find
You are. Robert Chi.
Who? Oh, today is Qingming is the big festival for the Chinese, and ancestry is big. So today is letting go. My father used to tell me that you know, he's not rich. He started 2 businesses. It failed. So I had that shadowed me through my life, and I started my own business. I become an entrepreneur, and I had to fight that huge belief because I respected my father. And it was well-meaning. So this is a gift to me. So in Qingming, thank you.
You're Pukachi. Pukachi.
Miss
Yes.
Maria.
Hold on just one second. I just want to be with him for a minute. Just a minute. Robert, thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
I just want you to know, and I get a little bit emotional around this, how much I love the Chinese. I love all people, but I feel like the Chinese are so misunderstood on the planet, not in Asia, not in certain places, but in America where we are and in other places. It's so strange because I have stood in front of hundreds of people and have said, have you guys ever gone to China? Have you ever gone to Asia? And, you know, nobody says anything. And it's like, I haven't, you know, and I said, do you have friends that are Chinese? And they don't say anything. I said, you do get that you're talking about people that are so different than the ones I know, and I happen to know a lot of them. And so the beauty, when Kiyosaki and I first went to Singapore, we were going to go and do programs in Singapore. Everybody says, well, you're going to have to really change your programs because, you know, there's a lot of Chinese in Singapore, Malaysia. And as it turned out, it was Dominic that ended up leading Dominic Leon leading the first Money and You in Singapore in September 1992, never to be forgotten. And it was more deep. I mean, Aussies can really go very deep, you know. So we had been in Australia for quite a few years by then. And in Australia by then, we had been there for 6 years. And Aussies can really get into it. New Zealand. And we had already gone to Hong Kong. And Hong Kong was a little bit subdued, and it was beautiful though. But Singapore in 1992, we went deep. And it was there that we realized that human beings are exactly the same everywhere in the world, everywhere. And particularly, and if Serge Gravel is still on the here, he would probably tell you, as a French Canadian, I remember when he first went to teach at the business school, and he experienced the beauty and the release that they were having, because I go very deep in the Chinese business schools, very deep. I take them deep. And because they take me there. They want to go there. They want to go and clear these things, and the generosity of spirit. You know, the Chinese in China are the only country on the planet that have taken 850 million people out of poverty in the whole world, you know, and the way that they were able to handle this, and that spreads, and that is the beauty that, you know, Singapore is able to really do what it does, because, you know, there's that discipline. So let's just focus on all the beauty of all of our different ancestors, You know, let's just do that. All of us, let's just focus on that. And I think that will transform the world.
Yes.
Thank you. Such a cutie. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yeah, go ahead. Who else wants to share?
I just wanted to let you know that I was taught that the parable about the camel going through the eye of the needle actually came from desert communities. They would build these forts and they would go across the desert with camels with all their wealth, right? Because they had to go from one place to another. And then they'd get to the fort and there'd be like a little small opening because they'd have these desert storms. And so they would open it and then they would unload the camel and pull it through the eye of the needle. And then the camels would kneel. And so when we use that parable, we take it into modern context, but truly it's actually bringing our wealth. And if those travelers hadn't brought the things from across the desert, the people in the kingdom would have starved. And also the traveler gained wealth and added value, not only to the community, but to himself for the travel and the thing. And then that's the camel through the eye of the needle. So we get this idea it's a sewing needle, but it had nothing to do with that originally.
Oh, thank you. Oh, don't you just love history? I never knew that story. Marjorie, you have your hand up.
Hello.
Hi.
I have not gotten to the actual single phrase, and I'm grateful to be able to bounce this off of you. In general, it's not okay to be me. I was a professional. I was a dentist for a long time and then left to do other things, and the other things just haven't played out. And somehow it was okay to do really, really a beautiful job with a medical profession, but not with these other things.
So you have the same thing I had. When I went from being a court reporter, I thought I was going to grow up to be an attorney. And then it was really hard. So just do these. So what was your most negative thought about money?
That's what the negative thought was. Money breaks your heart.
Did it break your heart? Has it broken your heart?
At times, this was more from my dad.
I know.
That was a really deep belief. But yeah, at times, yes.
Okay, so is it your dad's or is it yours?
I'll own it.
Okay, so has it broken your heart?
Yes.
So let's take a deep breath. What would be the opposite of that?
Money is joy and love.
And money mends my heart.
Money mends my heart.
It's very simple. It's the complete opposite. Money mends my heart, and then you just do the writing exercise. You just keep doing the responses. Money heals my heart, and then you do that. And later you can even do, but first do you, but then do the work for your father. You know, money healed my father's heart.
Wow. That really is good. And then I had one other thing, because there are times when I look at how we treat the planet with all the things we buy, all the resources that go into what we buy. And I feel like we're hurting the planet. And so that's been a block.
It's not a block, it's a fact.
So that's also, though, when people talk about buying the car they want or the house and all that, I shrink from that.
So what is the judgment? What is the judgment? Just it's okay
that the way we treat the planet to have what we have hurts the planet.
It does. You're actually correct. Now,
so then
you're correct, but there's a judgment there. So you may want to, I recommend that you follow a little bit Sandra, okay? Because she does some very deep work around that. But I also recommend that you do work with Heiko and Selina, okay? To releasing that. We have some, see, these are different areas. I love different teachers because of this. And I work with one and then another and then another, and they're all, it's like a beautiful crystal with beautiful facets of the crystal, a diamond, sorry, different facets of the diamond, okay? And then we have, I think, John Stamos. Is John Stam still around? Can you say hi and unmute yourself? So John Stam, also Stamos, John Stam, you can look him up in Facebook. He was here earlier. He has a beautiful, every week they do releasing, also physically, do the breath work. There are some beautiful teachers that we have around. So like, just begin with this, and then we are a portal. We are here. I just wanted to show you all real quickly. I'm pinning you here for a minute. And so all of you right here on Facebook, see right there, right there, that's my posting today. I want you to go there, you guys, and make sure that you all put your names and your website or what you're looking for, whatever. And let's have you all, you know, just begin to support each other. And Marjorie, the whole conversation about the planet and how we hurt it, we can continue talking that, come back and do Ho'oponopono next week. But also I recommend that you go to rday.net, because that's a beautiful group of environmentalists and with solutions. And this is what Chris, my sweetie, and I go, is our, well, it is my, what do they call it when you go and get healed? You know, it's like, I love to go there and let go, because we are much more powerful when we're neutral about the feelings that we have. And, and whatever judgment we may have, it could be about something else. And we could go a lot deeper, but I think we have a good start. And just, you can actually do my most negative thought about people who don't take care of the planet are, and begin to write those and create a beautiful affirmation.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And just remember, you got a sister here. I got a lot of judgment about that.
Thank you. So nice to meet my sister.
Yes, we are the little judgment sisters. So, Nick Sim in Singapore, you had your hand up. Hello, Nick.
So what a wonderful place you've done here, Doria.
Oh.
And Carol and I have been watching and listening the whole time, and it's amazing how this shift is in the world. And having dealt with so many people who are going through these problems in my own work, I know that so much of it is emotional and so much of it is self-blame. And what you do and what you bring here really helps elevate the spirit. And it makes my job easier if they would listen to you before I had to work with them.
Well, we're going to have a video of this. So Paul Schumann is one of my financial advisors that has been working with me for 20 years and has kept me sane. And there's a beautiful, for those of you, there is a care call, a Money and You care call, the third one on finances, where Paul really shares. And for those of you who are Money and You, you can go to JC she's also on Facebook. I hope JC also puts her name up there, and go find a copy of that, or just connect with Paul. Just call Paul.
Right, just call Paul at gmail.com. And if anybody has a question, if they're stuck in any type of financial issue, just send me an email. I'll do my thinking and maybe come back with an idea that might help you. I know I've gotten a few calls back from people I've helped on the other call, and they said their life completely changed, and I was amazed because all I did was give them some very, very simple techniques.
Yes.
The problem is that people don't think about the simplest things, and when you put it in front of them, it changes their life, and that's what I love.
Let's do a webinar together. Let's do a webinar together.
Sure, I'd love it.
Yeah,
Say something.
let's do that because I've been quoting you anyway. The people that were at the EBC call the other day, this morning would have. This is the poll, you guys, I was talking about, and I was quoting you about doing deals with the. I love what you share. That go to the people who are your suppliers because they're in the same situation that you're in, and see if you can negotiate something with them and include them, almost like have a joint venture with them and figure out a way for them to win and not stop supplying you, and that later you will pay for what is owed. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
What's interesting is one of the guys that I think Jay was talking about his problem with the banks and stuff, and he had communicated with me, and I'd explained to him what to do, and he sent me a couple emails, and he said it was amazing that when he picked up the phone and talked to his bank, and then talked to his buddy and the other guy's bank, he says, it was like the weight of the world lifted off my shoulders. He said, it's like they actually were willing to cooperate and help me out. And the bank was willing to pull back and everybody was there. It's like, he said it gave him a new perspective. And it was the simplest thing in the world. All I said was pick up the phone and call your bank. And then the guy that owes you money, the bank's holding his money, put them together and let them talk. That's it. Communicate.
Or you, though, is a piece of cake. Thank you, honey. Thank you. That's Paul Schumann, everyone. Just called Paul, and people are putting stuff, and Jason's putting
You
things.
gotta say hi to Carol.
And I have
though.
to say hi too.
Carol's gotta say something.
Carol, go ahead, Carol.
What wonderful evening. I had some insights that I will put to use and make changes in my life. Thank you.
You're so wonderful. You are my life insurance, term life insurance master.
Yes.
Yes. I never bought from anybody. How many years people have been offering me and explaining it? You got me. Thank you, sweetheart. Somebody had their hand up, a beautiful girl. Let me see. I know, but let me see. I have to take the one that was earlier. Oh, sorry. I see the other hands too. Okay, I think she might have left. Hold on just a second. I see you, Sanjeev. Hold on. There, Peggy. Peggy, it was you, Peggy. You had your hand up from earlier, right?
Yes. Hi, DC.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hi, DC. Thank you very much. I raised my hand because I just want to release my fear of showing up. Thank you very much.
Let's all say yay. Thank you for showing up. And did you get anything out of this program today?
Of course, a lot. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome.
Thank you very, very much.
All right, so let me unpin you. And then, was it Suba that had her hand up? Yes, Suba. Go ahead, Suba.
I thank you very much for this opportunity. Yes, I have a lot of reservations around probably being rich, and my ancestors, and whatever releasing was done was very, very, very useful for me. And I do have the guilt around. I'm doing good. Every conversation in this session has helped me in beautiful ways. I must say I had reservations to come to this event because of the fact that I don't want to be feeling like I chase money. And that feeling has been released to some extent. I guess I have to read it over and over again to get over it.
So what is that? What is the thought? Explain it a little bit.
The thought is like my grandfather, it goes into caste system and community and all that stuff. So I come from a Brahmin lineage where we did not earn per se. My grandparents performed rituals, and for which we were given, it's called dakshina. It's not we were paid for the services that we did, but we were coming from a learned family, not a business family.
Yes.
So that imprint is there in me. So when I go into business, or when I think about having more money or earning money, or even talking about wanting more money, I have a lot of, I don't like it. I don't like myself saying those things.
You used to not like yourself.
Yes.
You used to judge yourself.
Yes.
You know, I now release all judgments of self and around money.
I do.
And it's okay for you, you know, the whole thing. Anytime that we have a judgment, everybody, this is not just Suba. It's like whenever we have a judgment, just go for it. Go chasing afterwards. So for you, it would be, I love to chase money and see what happens. And it's like, I love to chase money. It's like, it's so, it will kind of like really just to get you going. That's all. But it's really, so what is the opposite of, give me the opposite.
Yeah, so I took some notes from what you were saying. I'm going to say, money loves me. I love money. Money comes from all directions. And I'm going to be the torch for money consciousness.
And money chases me.
Money chases me, okay.
All right. Thank you, Suba. Let me see. Just want to catch everybody. I'm sure. Let me see. Is Sandra still here? No, I think she left. Heiko, Selina, make sure that you put your information on Facebook. It's filling up a little bit more. Okay, let me just go through. And Paul Schumann, the same thing for those of you that have Facebook account. I'm looking for the little hands. There's still quite a few. Let me see. Who was Chase? Who had their hand up? 4 raised their hands. I'm looking. Okay, there's Dr. Vijaya. Oh my God, hello. Where are you? Oh, there you are.
Hello.
Oh, there's my sister from India. Hello, my beautiful.
Hi, Doria. How are you?
Oh, I'm so well. How are you?
I'm beautiful. You know, it is 5:30 morning. This call started today, and I raced for a beautiful morning to look at you. I'm so thankful, Doria.
Oh, I just love you and your family. What a beautiful spirit you have. And what did you get out of today?
And we love you too.
Thank you. So
actually I have done this exercise in Malaysia personally with you, but the transactions in my life have changed after that. You know, last year there was my father-in-law expired, and the properties had to be shared, and it didn't go the way it had to be. You know, I was carrying a lot of baggage in my heart that my children did not get any of the properties for themselves. So I was very hurt. I was carrying around that hurt along with me. So I was very happy that I was able to drop that baggage today in this event. And thank you very much for that, Doria. It really means a lot. It really means a lot. And the opposite of the statement what I made is, actually I had a statement that money kills relationship. So this is the statement which I was carrying subconsciously all the time since the property decision was made. When my father-in-law passed away, we didn't get any of the properties. So I was very hurt. It is not that I can't earn, you know how my memory classes go and how beautifully, money is coming into my life and it is free flowing and all that. But the only glitch was, I was very hurt that my children did not get any of the ancestrals which they really deserve, because I have lived 20 years with Ashraf, and it means a lot to own something from from your in-laws and from your ancestors. and for the family which you have done so much for 20 years. So when today we were listening to one of our beautiful, lovely Lisa telling that, I think I'm not worth it. I really loved your answer telling that you have been a beautiful wife and you deserve it. The same way I felt I've been a beautiful wife for 20 years. I left everything and I just married Ashraf for love and only for love. It doesn't matter that if they don't give the properties, but then if they're not making my children a part of the lineage, that is what was really hurting. This was not clear to me what was happening to me. But in this event, I realized I'm not hurt because I didn't get any of the properties. I'm hurt because my children did not get the recognition. But now I'm over, and I have found the opposite of that statement. Like, instead of money kills relationship, I have made a beautiful statement, Doria. I've made a statement. I've written it down. Money gives birth to beautiful relationships. This is what I have written.
Let's all support her. Oh. You're so smart anyway. You will figure it out. And just remember, and even then, one of the things that I have learned about releasing is saying, I now release all judgments that I have, about my family. I just start doing that work. It's so much part of me now. And thank you for being here, and give my love to your husband. And if he hasn't been listening to this, I will be getting a link to all of you in a few days. It's the weekend here, so my team won't be able to put it together until Monday or Tuesday. So then we'll go ahead and have it up, and I'm sure he would love to listen to it. And thank you. One of the reasons why I want to go back to India whenever Aziza and we are completing all of that, and AD, when they invite me, is to be with you and to hang out with you.
I would love to be with you. And I'm so grateful for you for writing a foreword for my book, Love, Learn, Leverage. Actually, I'm doing a video of that book, and I'm very happy that you chose to write a foreword for that. And in fact, that is the help I will be requesting in the link. Thank you so much for being there, Doria. Love you. God bless you.
I love you too. Aloha. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So then we have Bessa Martini. Thank you. Bessa, where are you?
I'm here somewhere.
Okay, I'll find you. Just keep talking.
So I didn't know I had so many, so my hand kept writing. And my biggest thought was that I can't make enough money because I'm a female. And then that I really can't have that abundance of money unless I have help from a man, whether father or family members, or as I believed in my mind that it's easier for men to make money than women, and opportunities are bigger for them than for women.
Well, that used to be true.
Yeah, absolutely.
That used to be true. Things are changing, but one thing, what you want to do, hold on just a second, I was looking for you, there you were, there you are. So, it's okay for you to accept certain facts, but everything is changing. What country are you in?
I'm in New York now, but I was born and raised in Albania, moved to New York 17 years ago.
Okay, so, one thing is to just look at the facts sometimes, and how it has been in certain environment. And then we let that go and then get very present. So what was your most negative thought, and what did you change it to?
The most negative one is I cannot make enough money.
You cannot make it, or that's it, you cannot make enough money?
Yeah, because I'm a female. That was really what kept coming over and over again.
So what is the opposite of that?
There is no limit to the amount of money that I'm capable of.
How about if we make it I am, whatever, not. Affirmation work better when they don't have a not in it. So I am, and say.
I am capable of making a lot of money.
How does that feel? Go ahead.
Of earning a lot of money. That feels cool.
Okay, how about is I am capable of hold on, I'm lowering your hand. I am capable to make an abundance and to keep it and to grow it, not just to make it. Remember, you guys, the 3 stages of money. You're either in the process of making it, or keeping the money that you managed to make, or growing the money that you managed to keep. Okay? So, and you could also say there is a huge abundance out there of money, of wealth, of riches. You have to really exaggerate in your case. You have to kind of like really shake yourself out of that. And because by now you probably have seen a lot of proof. You know, when I work with nothing but women, we do a lot of work, and Nicola, she had to go, so she's not on the call anymore. She had another commitment. But one of the things that we have to do when we're just working with women is to just accept the fact that there's many environments. I mean, you know, when I grew up, like you had two, women make this much, men make that much. I mean, that was something. So that was something that was real. And so our unconscious just kind of believes that, and because it was real, right? That was the way that things were. So now you're moving into a new paradigm and shifting. So, but just because of where you come from, some of us have to work a little bit harder at some of these things. So like you're just really kind of exaggerated. And for all of you, and those of you listening to this recording too, sometimes you have to really exaggerate it and like kind of like wake yourself up and really do the responses to the new one. Okay? So that's even your face. Who's talking? Somebody's hello? I think somebody wanted to share something. Okay, now go ahead. Besa?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so do you want to give us one with a little bit more, just tell us a little bit of energy there?
So you mean the new affirmation?
Yes, a new affirmation and exaggerate it.
Right. Okay. I so believe in my core that I am a powerful female and I attract so much abundance in my life to have enough for my family and for all the people that surround me.
Yay, okay. So another step would be for myself first, all right? See, you're still thinking, which is beautiful. You are a typical woman. We take care of the family first. But just as a breakthrough, let's start with, you know, so just, you keep working on that. Look at yourself in the mirror and oh boy, are we gonna have fun with you. Stay in touch. How did you come to this call?
Thank you.
How did you get to this particular call?
I'm sorry, my kids are laughing loudly on the.
How did you come here?
I signed up for the Coming Money and News Seminar in California. I was looking forward to it.
Oh, perfect, perfect. This is perfect. All right, we'll keep talking. I have a few little other programs for you guys because you are already in the program. Thank you, aloha. All right, so I think the next person, Nick, you already went. Oh, Nick, did you ever not talk, right? You never talked? Nick? Where are you, Nick? I called on you. You put your little hand down, up. Oh, he's no longer there. All right, and Michael, I think, Michael, you were first before La Sandra. Michael, you have your hand up?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great. Good to see you again. I'm a Money New graduate in creating wealth, powerful presentations. So I've been involved with this work for a while. And so I'm stuck on this negative thought that rich people are bad people, sort of that filthy rich idea. And so I don't want to be a bad person, therefore I shouldn't be rich. And it kind of even filters into the work that I do. I run a children's charity. We bring Russian kids from Russia to the United States. They have rare diseases, and we give them American medical care. Obviously, that's all stopped right now because the hospitals are full and travel restrictions and so on. But even before, the hospitals, I found out, were charging us 10 times their costs for a charity case. And it becomes a block for me to, want to raise funds for people who are ripping us off. So that's where I'm stuck in this. I'd have to believe that rich people are not bad people. And I live on Long Island, not in the Hamptons, but near the Hamptons. Read last week how some people diagnosed with coronavirus in New York got on the train or in the car, and then they went up to their homes in Southampton, to get treated. It's a small little hospital here with 12 ICU beds. And, they were going into the stores, buying everything out. Normally they're not here. And the local people have nothing to eat because they're coming in. So that's kind of the thought that's been blocking me. I was hoping you could shed some light on what the opposite might be.
So you realize that you will always find whatever it is that we believe in, we will always find evidence for it, okay? Mm-hmm. So did you get from your family? Did you see this? What happened? Where does it come from?
When I connected this to, I think maybe I was 8 or 9, and my piano teacher, who was a little old lady, didn't make a lot of money. She wanted to pay me to wash her windows. So I said, great, and so I washed the windows, and she paid me, $10 or something. When I came home, I was very excited. My father says, oh, you shouldn't have charged her. She doesn't have that kind of money. It was like a bad thing to do, to charge for money.
Okay, so that's another one.
Yeah.
Another one, right? Was your family rich?
It was, comfortable middle class.
Okay, but it wasn't like rich, right?
No.
Okay. So I just want you to know you just ran into somebody that used to have that judgment. And I really had to work on it. Okay, so we are a little bit connected there. And because up until just recently was like, how could rich people live and allow for 18,000 children to die every day of hunger, starvation? So that used to be my conversation, right? And believe me, I have had this conversation with some very rich people and have really used it through the decades to give me the energy and be able to be a very good enroller with them so that I could get them enrolled on my vision. And I did a really good job, right? But right underneath, there was always that feeling, okay? So let's just go ahead and transform. I'm not gonna tell you what I did, but how can you transform the opposite of, rich people not being good and whatever the thought is? What's the opposite?
But I'm stuck on it. It's almost like I'd have to believe that rich people are good.
But the belief is going to come after you do work. Mm-hmm. So we're not talking about you believing now. Everybody, listen to this. This is when it's really strong and it's in your unconscious. It's not going to change overnight. You have to keep working on it. So rich people are good. Rich people do nothing but good with their money. Now, what you do is you begin to do the response column and you see what it is that comes up until it gets flat. And then do, some of the releasing work with Heiko and Selina, and then just kind of like begin to do the work, because this is a really big one, especially if you are in the charity business, because you would have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder the way that I did, which is like, hey, it's like you have all this money and you're not taking care of these people. It's like, it's right underneath. It's right underneath. So radical too, the way we were working with beautiful Bessa, just very radical. And I promise you that this belief will transform if you work on this. It will, and it will shift your life a lot.
I remember in Creating Wealth, Robert was talking about different levels, and when there's a danger of when you become very rich, becoming very arrogant. And I've seen that a lot. like I said, you know, the belief that you have, you see. But
and it's funny that you should say that, because that is what happened to him. He did. And that was because that was a thing that probably he should have let go. It should have let go. We have to be very careful with the beliefs that we have. And just remember, and thank you, come back and review Creating Wealth. You know, just keep an eye. Where do you live?
in New York, Long Island.
In New York. Okay. So just keep an eye. Let's stay in touch, because the Australian team actually does a program, the Creating Wealth again. And we were going to do it in July, but you know, with all the shifts, we'll see what's going to happen. So we'll have it later in the year, and come back. It'd be worth for you to come all the way to Australia and redo the program and the way that we are now. We put a few things in there that I think you'll really enjoy. But if you recall, in Creating Wealth, we did cover, you know, the magical exercises. You may not remember that. But one of the biggest things right now is for you to really just say things like, at the core of my being, I believe that rich people are really good people. Just like that. At the core of my being. And almost doing like Bessa was doing, you know, the physical and moving. And because judgments, all judgment, any judgments on all of us is just our own creation. And we can have a lot of evidence. And so you will notice, we will see everywhere. And I have to say we, because I used to have that experience too. Okay? And so I'm going to take 2 more, and then we have to go, because I know people are hanging out to be with us, but it's been 3 hours. So you guys, what a good group. This will give us a hand. Woo! Thank you. Thank you, Michael. All right. And we have La Sandra Hill. We got 2 more. Thank you, Michael. Okay.
Hello. Hello. Hi. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Hi, thank you so much for this opportunity. I found out about it. Nicola is a mentor of mine, and during the training, she mentioned your name. I've heard her mention your name several times, but this particular time, I went ahead and I figured you had a Facebook page. So I looked you up on Facebook, and that's when I found out about this training tonight. And I am so grateful for this training. So grateful.
And it's late for you. It's midnight, isn't it?
I don't know. What time is it? I mean,
it doesn't matter.
Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas.
Okay.
It's just 10 o'clock for me, so I'm good. But the question about the most negative thought, I've heard a lot in my life about time is money. You know, money is time, and so I've even had people, when it comes to time, people say, "Oh, you're always working, you're always doing this and that," and it's just because I feel like I'm running out of time. I don't know. My most negative thought is I feel like the time that I've wasted in my life is I have to make up for it now, because I have children now, and so I'm thinking, okay, you know, the Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And so I just feel like I gotta use every moment to make up for that lost time, because I do want to leave for my grandkids, which I don't even have grandkids yet, but that's in the back of my mind. My dad passed away. Dad was, he was very spry. He was always energetic, and suddenly, you know, he became ill to the point that he did run out of time. And I guess in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to run out of time.
Okay.
I've accomplished what I need to accomplish.
How old was your father?
I'm sorry?
How old was your father when he passed?
Daddy was, how old was Dad? Late 60s.
He was young.
Yes, he was.
In my world, he was young.
Yes, yes.
Yes, so that's young. 20, 30 years, he could have had more, right? So now, what we want to do is, what is the opposite of what you just said? I'm running out of time. What is the opposite?
I have plenty of time.
And what? Plenty of time for what? Say the whole thing.
I have plenty of time to create an inheritance for my children's children.
Okay, so feel whether that's comfortable or uncomfortable for all of you, whatever it is that you have, this is the way you work on it, right? And then you do more work with these beautiful teachers that we have brought to you, right? That we're recommending. And then you already work with Nicola. Nicola is a masterful teacher. So now you're beginning to learn these distinctions of having the tools where every day you can catch yourself in these very powerful, powerful decisions that you have made and then transform them. So this is really important for you to even know, even at a deeper level, that you have the tools. And my sense is that it's a little bit deeper than that. And right now we don't have all the time, but I would recommend if you work with Nicola that you bring this up and she'll be able to work with you a little bit deeper on it.
Okay.
Because it's, even though it looks like it's about time, I think it could be a little bit more superficial. I mean, I'm sorry. It feels a little superficial. Now, I'm not judging it, okay? But it feels like there's something deeper than that. And then also it is those agreements that we make with parents. So go back and do a little bit more around your father and your mother.
Okay.
And that's something I found all these agreements, like for instance, you know, a lot of people have a really hard time making more money than their parents made, okay? And they don't want to surpass them. They feel like they're making their parents wrong if they become wealthy. There's a whole can of worms around parents, but I'd rather that you find out for yourself than me telling you.
Okay.
Okay? So
right.
it's, so it could be, one that's really coming up for me to tell you is, you know, I am more than willing to make much more money than my father did. I am willing to attract, to bring into, and bring it home a little bit more, because right now you're talking about dad, you're talking about, you know, children, grandchildren and all that. Just bring it a little bit more home.
Okay. All right.
So what was your most negative thought about money again?
That I don't have time to accumulate the money that I need to leave for my children's children.
So now I have plenty of time. And I also, and Heiko, you there? You still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, can you just maybe for like a couple of minutes, what would be a really good releasing one? I know that people are interested in this one too. What would be a good releasing for her?
I do respect the belief that a good man leaves inheritance for children's children, right?
Yes.
I would say, respecting that, you could still release, I release my idea that I'm not a good parent if I don't leave inheritance for my children's children.
Hmm.
And that I'm a failure as a parent if I don't leave that inheritance. So you can still choose, but if it's a pressure that it becomes your life purpose that is so important, then it's a weight on your shoulder, which I believe is maybe not meant to be, to have that weight.
Is
so
it?
Yeah?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So you can say, I release my belief that I'm a failure as a mother and a person. Say, I release.
I release.
My belief and programming.
And programming.
That I'm a failure.
That I'm a failure.
As a person.
As a person.
As a mother.
As a mother.
And possible grandmother.
And possible grandmother.
If I don't leave an inheritance.
If I don't leave an inheritance.
For my children.
For my children.
And children's children.
And children's children.
Yes. And one way to look at that, to maybe reevaluate that is, look, if our grandparents did not leave an inheritance, they're still amazing people that gave us life, yes?
Yes.
So if you look back, of course, they are big, we are small. You're big, your children are small. It goes downstream. But your mother, for example, she gave you life. No one can ever give you that. And everything else is extra. That's the law. The parents give us life. You give your children life. Everything else is extra.
Extra.
So you might give extra. They say a good person gives inheritance to their children's children, but it did not say, if you don't do that, that you're a bad person. So that may be an assumption. Yes?
Yes.
So a good person leaves inheritance to the children's children. But if you don't, you can still be a great person.
Yes.
So we must watch out the subconscious assumptions, right?
Yes.
So that's what we call a program, is no judgment. So maybe you can feel in your heart, even talk to God and ask, is that true that I can lift up that weight and give it up? And maybe my parents gave me this life to make the best out of it. And what I can give my children is to live a life, to make the best out of myself. And as a role model, by the way, that's an inheritance too, you know. Inheritance was created already before moolah, before money, yes?
Yes.
So you inherited your genes, your love, your wisdom, you pass it down anyway. So that's an inheritance too. Maybe you can see it from that perspective too and lift that weight off your shoulders. How's that for you?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Well, you're smiling, that's good. Yeah?
Yes.
So watch out for the tricky assumptions in our minds. And you can still be a person that, in your concern, God smiles upon if you don't live in material inheritance. Instead of, I live my life freely. I do what I love to do. I give my grandchildren the inheritance, or my children the inheritance, of claiming my life and do what I love to do and encourage them to do the same. Well, that is one big inheritance to give. To do nothing but what you really love, what you're passionate about, what you're here to put on earth for, right?
Yes.
Yeah, to claim that freedom and give your children permission to claim the same freedom, do whatever makes you happy and nothing else, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. And Vijaya and everybody else can reuse that. Woo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, perfect. And Aziza, you're the last person. All right, Aziza, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone, and good evening for those in US and everywhere else. It's really wonderful to be connecting here, and I want to thank Doria for the. I'm very, very grateful for all that's happening right now. And today, the affirmation that I was doing kind of added value to all the context of what was happening for me, especially with my realization that I have my great grandparents coming from Middle East, settled in India. So, and that they were these wealthy group of people, and then they have lost it all and they became like spiritual teachers and stuff like that. So that's been a very big dichotomy for me, where wealth is something that and money has been something that I've been working on at the same time, these spiritual work. So, you know, the two confusion has always been settling in. And this thing about rich people will cheat and rich people, you know, this whole conversation, everybody is bringing that up. So it's very interesting that it has showed up that way for me as well. So today's session, I actually got the context of money is a spiritual expression of my existence. So I'm taking that back and I'm taking that in me, and I'm really grateful for all of the friends who showed up in the last few hours to be part of this. And I can't thank Doria enough for this, and also the kind of deep work that Money and You allows us to have, working with people like John Stamoulis, who the breath works, the conscious connected breathing really gets people into our core of our being, and to be grateful and have gratitude for everyone that's showing up in the world. So thank you so much. And I want to send lots of love and blessings to everyone that's been here. And thank you very much for allowing me to share this space as well. And all our friends, our Trainapreneurs Network, Randy, Dr. Sri Kumar, Huni, and so many others from Singapore, Malaysia, India, as well as from Cambodia, they are on the call today. So thank you so much for giving us that space. Thank you.
Yay, thank you. Now, one more time, this is the last one. Nick Sim, you keep raising your hand, but I can't find you. Are you back? I keep calling on you, mate.
Nick's our Money and You graduate.
I know, but I keep calling on him and then he puts his hand up and then he disappears. Nick, are you there? Are we playing hide and seek? Hello, Nick, are you there?
He's actually put up a post on Facebook. Maybe people can go and he does a lot of these. I've actually sent him the link to come in today. He
Okay,
actually,
but that's okay. We don't want to do any advertising. Have people go there. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, there's one more person. I don't know why I'm compelled. Hold on just a second. Just give me 1 second. Oh, he just has his picture up there. Okay, good. Yeah, we just want to put everything on Facebook and we're getting a really good group there. All right. So I guess, where is the gentleman that I wanted to? Oh, there you are, Byron. Hello, Byron. You're the one that I was looking for. Byron, I know you want to share. What is
I'm so
it?
glad. I am
I
so glad.
know, I could feel you. Go ahead, Byron.
Thank you. Well, I just wanted to share this. You know, this has been a journey. A couple of years ago, I read a book and I started I recorded myself with some self-talk statements. And as a result of the self-talk statements, I attracted some opportunities and circumstances, which led me to an event in Vegas in December. I saw Miss Nicola Smith Jackson there. Didn't think too much at the time. A couple of months passed. In February, this past February, I started looking on YouTube because Nicola Smith Jackson pops up. So I said, oh yeah, I remember her. So I watched one of her videos, and in the video, it was Nicola Smith Jackson and Dame DC Cordova. And I said, wait a minute, I know that name. Why do I know that name? So I watched a little bit more and I said, oh my God. I went to Facebook and you're my friend on Facebook. And I said, wait a minute, Money and You, I know this. It turns out 10 years ago, I messaged you to be a part of a reality TV show that I was being a part of 10 years ago. And life got in the way, and whatever my subconscious programming was, sabotaged the success of that show. Nothing ever came of it. And I lost thought of Money and You. And now 10 years later, when I saw Money and You on my Facebook as a result of watching Nicola Smith Jackson's YouTube video, I said, okay, this is my shot. I've got to do this now. So I signed up for Money and You right away. And I was really looking forward to the class, but I'm glad that we had this opportunity. And thank you so much. This is like full circle for me. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
I couldn't hang up. It was like I kept thinking there was one more. Where's that beautiful man that I couldn't find you because we still have. I really want to acknowledge all of you, you guys. There's 96 of you left. I mean, it's late. We've been here for 3 hours and 20 minutes, but I'm a business school graduate, so I can hang in there. But I just really, really want to thank everyone. Thank you, Byron. And we'll stay in touch. We will be taking care of quite a few people that were signing up for Money and You. But I just wanted to just really acknowledge all of you. I want you to know that every time that I do one of these, there's some things that I healed. A long time ago, I learned about this thing called soul retrieval, long time ago. And it was, and they were talking about that there's certain aspects of ourselves that we bring back every time that we healed, and then we get more whole and complete, more whole and complete. And so I'm really, every time I do one of these, and also the Ho'oponopono process, which we'll be doing again, but it will only be an hour and a half next week, unless we want to stay and chat and have a party. But I get more and more whole and complete. And I just want you to know from the bottom of my heart, and for those of you that are going to be watching this recording, that I truly feel that what we're going through, this paradigm shift, is such a, there's going to be so many good things, so many precessional effects, so many ripple effects that are going to be so beautiful. I just know it. I just know it at the bottom of my heart. I mean, I know that we're in the middle of it. And the hardest part is to see, you know, the people who are leaving and their relatives and all of that. But we also have that happening in the world a lot, all the time. But right now we are all focusing. And so it brings up this tremendous sense of loss. So this is where, you know, I really use all of these different tools. And I did a whole weekend with Sandra Biskind and her husband last weekend, Chris and I did, and just kind of like just feeling ourselves. And I think she's doing something tomorrow night. They're doing a big healing too. I think it's at 7:30 California time. I will put it up on my Facebook. Come and check in the middle of the day tomorrow. And or you can go to Sandra Biskind, you can find her. And so then, you know, I'm doing all these things. I want to do something with Heiko and Selina just on this, on releasing. Heiko and Selina, I want you guys to do a webinar. And so I just keep doing it every day. Beautiful. Besides my meditations, my twice a day meditations, I just keep doing a lot of work for me to just really strengthen my spirit and my unconscious and and just really having and keeping that understanding that this too shall pass. And I do get sad at moments, you know, because who wants to see the world suffering? But remember, we still have 2 billion people that live like that. So I think this is going to be a great equalizer. I think that people no longer will they be able to see a tragedy somewhere in the world when there's not enough medicine, when there's not enough masks, there's not enough whatever, and they're going to see it completely different. They're going to say, wow, you know, it's like, now I know what that feels like. Now I know what it is like to not have access to. And the news is over exaggerating this scarcity, right? And so there are certain human beings so beautiful that do live from scarcity, and they are preparing for the worst to happen. And I'm a tiny bit like that because of my background, and we had a big earthquake when I was 11. I could tell you the whole story around it. So I always kind of have enough water and enough food for a while. It's just something that just makes me feel better. But my energy is not from, oh my God, we're going to die energy. So that's what you really have to be very careful with. We're not in the middle of the plague. And just remember, I released those feelings of thoughts. And then I think I felt so compelled to do this because now you all have the tools. You're going to be receiving in a couple of days, a few days, you're going to be receiving the download of chapter 7. You're going to have all the details on how to do this with your family, and keep doing it. I've been doing this for this long, since 1977. When people say, what is your trick? Well, it's not a trick. It's just a tool. It's a tool that we use and also around all the different teachers and people that just fill my soul. So I'm just I am like a portal. I really love it that God uses me to be a portal for me to introduce you to all kinds of beautiful people. Just keep connecting with all the people here and connect with them and work with each other, support each other, and be very careful and loving and tender with each other. So thank you and congratulations for hanging in there for 3.5 hours and hanging out. And aloha. I just want to, I think we can open up. Unmute. I think everybody's unmuted, right? Let me unmute everyone. Unmute all so you can all say goodbye.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Love
Bye.
you
Thank you.
all.
Thank you, Doria.
Good night. Good night.
Everybody.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Doria's elephant
Bye.
kiss.
Gloria, thank you. Have yourself It was him with
Oh, I
his phone
didn't
on.
get that. Can everyone please repeat what they said?
One repeat what?
Wonderful, wonderful class, Doria.
Hey, sober. Everyone is supposed to be gone.
Hey,
Everyone's supposed to be
Serge.
gone. Go away. Go home. Go to sleep.
Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you.
Hugs, big hugs, much love. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Everybody.
I hang up.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
Aiko, bye-bye, Aiko. Go. Trina, bye, everyone.
Look at your beard. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'm going now. Bye-bye.
Love you all.
Such a quick. I don't want to go. He lied. Serge is still here. No.
Serge.
That sounds like him. Bye.
Hi. Hello. How are you? Hi, everyone. Love you. Yay.
Hello, Chris.
Love you, Chris. Nobody's going. I can't hang up on them.
Let's have a party.
You have to kick us out.
You
have to.
Let's have a party.
Nobody wants to go. On Sunday night, remember, we get everybody to help us pack. Yeah. Thank you. Wendy, we love you, Wendy.
Goodbye. Love you.
You feeling better, Wendy?
Yes, I do. Great class.
Yes. Okay. Take care. Okay,
Doria, love you.
Thank you. Oh,
Love you, Doria.
The baby. All right. Everybody goes.